Hello, welcome back to Proactive Investors. We're going over to Perth now to talk to Mike Rosenstrike. He's the Managing Director of Hexagon Resources. Hi Mike, how are things?
Hello Karen, I'm well, thanks.
That's good. Now Hexagon Resources has its June quarterly activities and cash flow report out today. Can you take us through some of the highlights?
Look, I think the core highlight is that we released our downstream scoping study results during the quarter. And that really maps the way forward in terms of how we're going to progress technically, and I think also the sort of the development scenarios for it. We also have a sort of a work in progress type updates on what we're up to in America. And we have an update on our Macintosh joint venture, where unfortunately we've recently experienced some delays, which we outline in the quarterly.
Yeah, I was about to say there's possibly some challenges too, and I note the Macintosh DFS has faced some delays. What's that been due to?
This work is simply taking longer than we expected it to. Hexagon's commissioned some test work recently where we're really looking to optimise the grade of the concentrate and preserve the flake size in that concentrate. In our previous test work that we had commissioned, we were really focused on producing battery anode material, which is a much finer grain material. So this test work results are really the key inputs for the feasibility study, so the other activities have to wait for that test work to be completed. And Mineral Resources also expressed an interest in having a look at our downstream scoping study, so I guess it provides some extra time for that. This test work is underway right now in China, and we plan for it to be completed next month.
What are the highlights of Hexagon's scoping study that's examining the standalone graphite purification and processing plant?
After a year or so, all of these detailed technical reports, I think a highlight is that people can see that we've actually quantified in dollar terms how it is that we're looking to try and capture value down the graphite supply chain. We've got the utilisation of an innovative new flow sheet, as well as some new technology, which enables us to achieve these outcomes. A core assumption is that we're actually looking at the downstream business as a standalone enterprise. And so whilst we would like to be able to take material from Macintosh or our US assets, we're actually assuming that we're going to be in the open market securing the specific feedstocks that we need for to be able to make our end products. In terms of financial estimates, I think we've generated some really positive outcomes here. We've got post-tax NPV ranging from sort of $580, so $600 million Australian up to 958 million in terms of a post-tax NPV, into IRRs of around 32 to almost 50%. So these are very strong returns, underpinned by very strong margins in terms of our operating costs and our expected basket price for the products sold. So look, it really maps a very strong path forward in terms of creating an overall picture of the opportunities that we now have to chase in terms of more technical work and also looking at funding options.
So what are the next steps in terms of this part of your business?
Look, we're moving ahead on our feasibility study for this downstream business, in particular the purification aspect. There's a pilot refinery being built right now in North America that we're going to utilise for that. And through that process, we'd like to utilise samples from our US project, from Macintosh and from other sources to make sure that we're able to achieve the purification and what's called milling, micronizing and spheroidizing results that we've assumed in our scoping study. We're also looking at a range of options to really fast track this business, fast tracking in terms of marketing materials, but also finding funding solutions to put the development into place.
Now Hexagon also has investment in US-based charge minerals. Can you tell us more about this aspect of the company?
Yeah, sure. We've acquired an 80% interest in this private company registered in the US called Charge Minerals. They have ownership of some graphite properties in Alabama on the famous Alabama graphite belt. And we really think that this is an opportunity to fill a product void in the US. And so the idea was that it's an industrial mineral. So we were looking for projects that had the right type of graphite, but also where the mineralization was exposed. And that's really important. So in this case, we have a project that's centered around a former mine working, which was last worked in 1946. And that means that we're able to immediately map and sample the mineralization and take bulk samples. So next week we'll start this bulk sampling program, and the reason that's important is because by the end of this year we'll have samples of concentrate material that we're able to put on the tables of various potential customers, end users, and that will dictate what sort of forward program we put into this project. So we let the marketing appetite lead any sort of traditional exploration, drilling, sampling type activities. I think that's the key for an industrial mineral such as graphite. So the next step will be this 80-ton bulk sampling program, and that's what we'll use to generate those samples to put on customers' tables. And one other comment about Charger's. Charger's got some terrific people involved with it, very experienced in graphite and in the US battery and end user scene. And what that brings to us is government relationships, customer relationships across a range of applications, whether that's batteries, electrification, or even Defence Department requirements. And this is all in an atmosphere in the US at the moment where not so much on trade tensions, but where there's a focus on critical or supply of critical minerals. And graphite is one of these critical minerals. It creates this tremendous interest in what we're doing down in Alabama.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing, graphite and graphene.
Well, we would like to, I mean, Alabama is an interesting opportunity in its own right, but we'd also like to think that it could open doors for us in terms of our Macintosh material as well in time.
Yeah, good luck with it. And any other news for investors or news flow to mention at this stage?
Well, I think that's a pretty good wrap. I'm actually heading to the US this weekend and looking to pursue these activities that we've just been discussing, and I guess we're planning to be able to report on some of these milestones over the coming months. And unfortunately, I was talking about these detailed technical reports, but we do have another one on the horizon where we've got some really interesting test results in terms of our program to substitute our natural flake graphite for synthetic graphite in certain industrial applications such as electrodes. So watch this space for that news coming out, I'd say, in the next few weeks.
We look forward to that. So thanks for your time, Mike Rosenstrike from Hexagon Resources.
Thank you very much, Karen.